Welcome to MLM Recruiting Mastery System, module on overcoming objections. And now we're going to talk about, can I do this objections? Okay, remember your prospect has 3 doubts. Is this for real? Can I do this? And will you help me? And this, we're going to talk about, can I do this objections? So variations of this is, so types of objections that fall into this category are no time, I can't sell, I don't like to do sales, I don't know many people, I don't have many friends or a big network, I'm not an outgoing person, or I don't want to lose my friends, or it's hard to sell to friends and family, I don't want to sell to friends, or I have money issues with my friends, or I can't do this, or I'm not sure if I can make it. More of these, fall into this category of can I do this is my market students and they can't afford supplements. I can't afford the products. My friends will misunderstand and think it's a pyramid scheme. I need to ask my parents for permission. I need to ask my parents for money. I need to think about it, or I need to do some research. Or I'm not ready yet. I still need time to consider it. Or I need to figure everything out first. Or I need to talk to my husband and wife. So let's talk about these. No time, selling, asking for permission, lack of network, think about it, fear of failure. Basically all summarized into those categories, right? So let's talk about the no time objection. Now, the no time, a lot of times, it is created by how you approach the prospect. Okay, remember, if you talked a lot, if you're nagging, if you did a lot of presentations, you spend a lot of time presenting to them, right? Chasing them down, talking to them with no posture, no confidence, talking to them for hours and hours, trying to convince them. Obviously, they're going to say no time because they think, again, they got to do what you did to them. Okay? So make sure you don't do that. If you're spending a lot of time chasing after people, they think they got to do what you did to them. Now, if they say, I don't have time, before you answer this, you need to find out how much time they think they need. Remember, the more you know about a prospect, the better. So make sure your answer relevant to them. So you ask them, how much time do you think it takes to run a successful business? And see what they say. And if they say 20 plus hours or amount that's more than 10 hours, then you can easily overcome this by telling them, it takes only 5 to 10 hours a week to grow a successful business from home. That's the best news. In our profession, it takes only 5 to 10 hours a week. It doesn't take 20 hours. And that will help you overcome that. Another way to answer is using feel, felt, found to answer the no time objection. Okay, feel, felt, found. This is something that's very, very helpful. Is I understand how you feel. I felt that way too when I first, but what I found was. So I'll give you an example. If the prospect says I don't have time, say I understand how you feel because I felt the same way too. When I first got started, I was working on a job. I had family commitments. The job was taking a lot of my time. I had to work weird hours as well. I had other family commitments. I had other things in my community that I needed to do. I was way overwhelmed. But what I found was, in this business, you can do it in your nicks and crannies of your time. You just need 5 to 10 hours a week, and you don't need it at one chunk. You can do it 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, and you can build a good, solid business. Another example is I understand how you feel because when I first heard about this opportunity, I felt the same way. I wanted to do it, but I had no time. But what I found through the training was that it was not about the lack of time, but my poor time management skills. And once I applied the time management skills that I learned from our trainings, I found myself having plenty of time to do the business. Okay, feel, felt, found. And the truth is, most people, the reason they feel like they don't have time is with really poor time management. And once you work on the time management, everyone has time to do this business. Now, here's another approach. This is called the Ben Franklin close approach. Some of you have heard of Ben Franklin. It's kind of a closing technique. We'll cover that more in the next module. But Ben Franklin, using to answer the time objections, this is really good for analytical people, okay? So if they say, I don't have time, you can always say, well, let's see if there's ways for you to help you have time, okay? If you really have time, you should do this. Do you agree? But if you don't have time, do you agree? I agree that you shouldn't do this. So immediately your prospect's going to feel relieved because you're on their side. You're actually agreeing to them. You're not fighting them. You're telling them, hey, if you don't have time, I agree you shouldn't do this. But if you do have time, do you agree that you should do it? Okay, and then you're going to say yes. They'll be happy that you're on their side. So you want to have them grab a piece of paper and draw out 3 columns. Okay, the 3 columns are the hours in the day and how you spend them. Okay, so I'll kind of have a picture here. Just any 3 columns, doesn't need to be neat. And the 3 columns you're going to do is how much hours you sleep. And you put that in the first column. Okay, so maybe you sleep 5, 8 hours, whatever they put it down. Then the second column is how much time they spend working. And let them put the number, maybe 8 hours, right? 8, 9 hours. And then the third column is how much time, the rest of their time. What do you do with the rest of their life? The rest. Okay? Stuff. And then you ask them, well, what do you do? And they may say, well, I have to commute, like an hour a day. I have to clean the house. I have to make, take a bath. I have to make food for my kids, make lunch and dinner for my kids. I have to do grocery shopping. Have them write it down. And I'm telling you, no one I have met can come up with filling up the full 24 hours. So the first column is sleep. The second column is how much you work. The time left, no one can fill that up. Okay, then when they can't fill that up, you suggest, well, actually, I think that, sometimes we feel that we don't have time, but if you actually go over each hour, we do have the time. Right? And this doesn't even include weekends, because, weekends, you're not working 8 hours a day. You're not spending an hour commuting. So you have more time to do the business on the weekends as well. Right? And here the truth is that most of the time, people, what they do, they fill up the time. What do they fill up the time, the other time, the stuff with? TV. Right? Useless internet surfing. That's what they do. But they'll never admit that to you, right? Because I don't have time. And then they fill it out there. Okay? And so you show them that they do have time. Right? Now, if once in a while a prospect does fill up the 24 hours, if you ever meet someone like that, they actually write down TV, Facebook, video games in there, then you always bring up their why and ask them, would it be worth to give up 1 hour of TV for the next 3 years so you can travel around the world, so you can buy a house for your mom? Right? Just 1 hour a day. And if you do 1 hour a day, you have 7 hours a week. You can't have time to do the business. Now, maybe you meet a rare prospect that actually has everything filled up and is productive. Then you can always ask them to sleep less. So is it worth it to sleep 1 hour less a day for the next 3 years so that you can leave your job and buy the house for your mom, or buy that, start that college fund tuition for your kids? All right? You use the why. You ask them 1 hour a day, wherever they're looking, giving it up. Okay. And by the way, here's a tip. A lot of times people say, I have to clean the house. They're not spending an hour a day cleaning the house. Maybe 15, 20 minutes doing chores, right? They're not really doing it all at one time. So again, most of the prospects, I would say 19 out of 20 prospects I talk to never could fill up the 24 hours, okay? So you have them fill up. And this is very good for analytical, logical people, because they can see right in front of them that they actually do have the time to do the business. So really, it's the lack of time management, not the lack of time. And by the way, if you listen to this, you don't think you have time, you need to get my Extreme MLM Productivity course. You can just go to mlmnation.net, go to the store page and get it. It's probably one of my favorite and best courses I've created, because everyone has the time. It's just the lack of urgency and bad time management techniques. Okay, let's go over to selling objections. If people don't like to sell, okay? So these come in all types of forms, like I can't sell, I don't like to do sales, I don't want to lose friends, it's hard to sell to friends and family, I don't want to sell to my friends and family, I have money issues with my friends, I don't want to get complicated, right? So I can't sell, I don't like selling. So the reason why you get this, number one reason why you get this is because you talked too much. Remember, your prospect always thinks they got to do what you did to them. So if you used an upline or tool to present, you simply ask them, did I ever sell you anything? And let them answer. And say, all I did was ask you, and you say, all I did was ask you to talk to someone and watch a video. And you'd be doing the exact same thing. Remember, your prospect always thinks they got to do what you did to them. So if you get this a lot, you're talking way too much. That's why. Now, If they ask you this, ask them, what do you think of selling? What comes to their mind? And most of the time, they'll say, well, it's like being pushy or convincing people to buy things, right? And where do they get this belief from? It comes from dealing with probably used car salesmen or probably a pushy salesperson, right? And then you ask them, well, when you communicate to your friend and just you decide to eat sushi tonight, are you selling or are you communicating? So when you're talking to your friends, hey, let's go out to dinner tonight. Let's go to eat sushi. Or let's go get some ribs tonight. Are you selling or are you communicating? Right? You're communicating, but also you're kind of selling them. Right? Just every time, whatever you ate for dinner last night, someone sold you on eating that. Right? Why did you decide to eat? Now, if you're with a family, you're probably your wife or your spouse or your girlfriend, they convinced you to eat that. They sold you on eating that. If you're out with friends, they sold you to eat that type of food. So you ask them, in your opinion, what's the difference between selling and communicating? So when you ask your friends to go out to eat dinner, are you selling your friend to spend his time with you? No, you communicate to them. So if you come to think of it, we're selling every day, right? So can you see there's a difference between pushy sales that's annoying? Like I know I can understand that if you don't like that, but what we do is just a warm welcome approach, like asking your friend out to eat dinner. So we're simply communicating, sharing with people about products and services that we like. So let me ask you, you don't like to sell, but when we go for job interviews, aren't we selling ourselves? So don't you have to convince and sell to your boss every day that you're doing a good job every single day when you go to work? And then you end up with, you're simply doing what I'm doing. I just let you know, right? Like, are you interested in earning some extra income? Got you to look at a third-party tool. Talk to our team members. Okay? And by the way, if you're not pushy and you use tools, they will see that, it's simply about sharing. Now I'm going to show you a different way, another way approach to do this, okay? And this works very well for people who really want businesses. So maybe you have a friend that has been shopping around for businesses, wants to do business, but just hesitant, right? Because maybe they don't have the startup capital, or they're hesitant because they're scared to take action, or they're hesitant to go into MLM because they don't like to sell, right? But they want to make money and be wealthy. They want to have a business. So you ask them, if they really want to make money, then you show them that they must learn to sell. Right? Sales, it's like if you want to start a business, sales is the first step they must learn. Think about it. If you own a hamburger joint, the first thing you need to do is get everyone you know and get them to try out the burger, right? You have a hamburger joint on the street, you got to sell to the people who walk across the street, right? You got to sell. And every successful millionaire had to learn how to sell one way or another. Whether you're Steve Jobs, had to sell his vision, where Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg had to sell his vision, everyone is selling. So if you want to be what other successful millionaires do, you have to sell. Except that's the way things are. If you want a better life, you must learn to sell. So is it worth it to learn? And the best part of this business, you're going to get free training on the number one skill to be financially successful is to be selling. Right? Because it's not what you like to do, it's what you must do. Another way to answer sell is feel, felt, found, right? So I used to feel the same way. I felt that I could not do this business because I couldn't sell. But what I found was that I could learn, and as long as I attended the trainings, I could learn how to communicate better and sell effectively. I'm going to give you a little bit more here. Now, has there ever been things in the past where you had to go and learn? Have been something in your life that you had to go and learn? Or let me ask you, were you born with those skills and education, or did you have to learn it? It's the same thing as selling. It's something we can learn. Now, would it be worth it to learn how to sell if it can help you achieve your why? You can also ask them, if you can make $1 million, would it be worth it to learn how to sell? The answer is obvious, right? The objection to selling may be linked back to their doubt. Is it for real? Okay? If they don't believe this profession, it may not be worth it for them to learn. Now, the next objection is hard to sell to friends and family. Hard to sell to friends and family. So you ask them, why is it hard? And you want to guide them that they just communicate, just like asking a friend out to dinner, right? When you ask your friends, hey, let's go to Japanese food for tonight, you're basically selling them to eat Japanese food. If you saw a good movie and told your friends, let's go watch this movie tonight, right? I heard that's really good. Then you just sell your friends to watch that movie? Some say, I don't want to sell to my friends and family. They feel guilty. Then you ask them, well, Now, who would they want to sell? If you don't want to sell to your friends and family, who would you want to sell to? If they had something that can really help someone's life, why would they not share it with their closest friends? So maybe your prospect is afraid that they're going to fail, right? So they'd rather talk to strangers instead. They don't want to affect their friends. So what does that tell you about the person? Like, does it mean that it's okay to share with strangers but not close friends? How does that make you feel as a person? So you have this thing, you want to sell to strangers, but you don't talk to your close friends. And maybe I'm talking to you, you're listening to your distributor. You feel comfortable talking to co-markets, but you don't want to approach your friends. Why? So if you don't do well, it's okay to screw up your friends, right? Just screw up the strangers, but not your friends. Okay, that actually is not right. That's wrong. There's very bad values. We should share it with our friends. Okay, share with our friends and close friends and family. So think about it. If you open a sushi restaurant, who would be the first people you tell? Wouldn't it be your friends and family? Absolutely. Also, how would your friends feel when you become successful and they find out that you never told them about this opportunity? How would your friends feel? Right, they'll be very, very angry at you. Here's another objection related to friends. I don't want money issues with friends. I don't want money issues. This business requires a team to be successful. And wouldn't you want your friends to be part of the team? Would it be more fun? Now think about it. How would your friends feel when you become wealthy and you never told them about this? Right? These are great questions. You're number one, you're future casting, letting them see the future. When they become successful, when they become wealthy, and you never tell your friends. Right? How would your friends feel if they saw others become successful, but they missed out because you knew about this opportunity, but you didn't, because you didn't join, they missed out on it until years later. That's why you got to talk to your friends, right? And also, if you're digging your backyard and discovered some gold in your backyard, you were so excited, and then you realize there's so much gold, you'll never get enough of this gold in your life, who will be the first people you share with? Would you share with your strangers or would you share with your close friends and family first? Right? You definitely share the gold with your close friends and family. Now, another objection is, again, all this stuff is happening because the lack of belief. They don't believe it's real, right? When you're presenting, we talk about the inviting approach. You want to sell the trailer. Show them that this can be done. It's simple and duplicatable. Some people say, I don't want to lose my friends and family. The best part of this business is you gain friends. Because if I help my friends make money, wouldn't they be happy? You think I'll gain more friends or I'll lose them? Okay, you gain so many new friends in this business. I've gained so many friendships, even in different countries, especially countries that I would never have gone to if it wasn't for this business. And one of my acquaintances became one of my best friends now because of this business. Another objection is my friends will misunderstand. I think it's a pyramid scheme. Okay, you can use feel, felt, found. Find out what the friends mean when they say pyramid. Okay, find out what it means. Number one, what do you mean by pyramid? Okay, we covered that in the pyramid objection, the previous section there before. And then you want to show the credibility that the profession of the company, maybe your company may be publicly traded. Show the history of the profession or well-known investors like Warren Buffett or people like Donald Trump have invested in network marketing. Okay, so it's not a pyramid scheme. And you think feel, felt, found is great. I understand how you feel because I felt the same way. I really didn't understand this profession. But what I found was, when I did more research, I found this profession is awesome. Where people like Warren Buffett that constantly invests in network marketing companies. I need to ask for permission. Okay, I need to ask for permission. So I need to ask my parents for permission. I need to ask it's the same thing as asking my parents for money. Or I need to talk to my husband and wife. So if you ask for parents for permission, this is for younger generation. The way to get it is to get them emotionally charged up, right? Are you planning to live a life similar to your parents or better? And you can ask, have there been times when your parents told you something that they were wrong because they did not fully understand the situation that you were in or how something works? And I'm showing you're talking to, kids, I call them kids, between 18 to 21. There are tons of stories when they'll share them when their parents are wrong. Right? And also ask them, if you normally don't ask when was the last time you asked your parents for permission for something? Like, do you ask and especially college kids, they go out and they use bar money, pub money, right? Bar money to drink, beer money, right? Do you ask your parents for beer money? Do you ask permission for you to drink, to party, while you're in school? So if you normally don't ask your parents for permission for things like this, then why ask this time? Also, are you living your parents' life or your life? And the last one I love to ask is, how would it feel if you became successful and made your parents proud? Has there been a time when you had to ask your parents for money and they turned you down because they didn't understand the situation? So maybe it could be a party, or maybe you had to buy something. You asked them, they turned you down. So from my experience, this is what's going to happen. Your parents will say no because they don't understand, and you'll be deprived of a great opportunity to make your parents proud. Okay, that's very powerful, especially if they had to ask for parents. Maybe they're living with the parents, still in school. They want to make their parents proud, but they want to do it their way. Right? Has there been a time when you asked your parents for money and they turned you down because they didn't understand your situation? Okay, here's another one. Need to talk to the spouse. Okay, I need to talk to my spouse. And you say, absolutely. You can insist, but you insist on talking to the husband and the wife at the same time. Why? Because otherwise it's going to be like a game of telephone. And your prospect's always going to, remember the game of telephone? Like I tell you, someone else tells a story, and after a couple of people, it sounds totally different, right? So you ask them, it's going to be like a game of telephone, and the prospect will make it sound illegal or confuse the spouse. So absolutely you should talk to the spouse, but I'd love for you to talk to both of you together. Another objection is I don't know many people or don't have a big network. So you can ask them, do you believe that expanding your network and connections is important? Right, they're going to say yes. You can ask them, do you believe who you know in life is very important to your career and life? Right, they're going to say yes. Well, that's the best part of this business. You get to meet a lot of new friends. It's going to be a ton of fun. And what you're going to do is you're going to emphasize the training. That this is just like the MLM objection. Show them that this time is different because the training that teaches them how to meet new people. Another objection is I'm not an outgoing person. So this is very similar. I don't know many people. Emphasize the importance of expanding the network. So again, you can use feel, felt, found. And emphasize the training is what makes things different. So you can say, I understand how you feel because I felt the same way. I'm very shy and quiet. I'm an introverted person. But what I found was through this training and our team support, I've actually learned to develop a few skills that allowed me to meet a lot of people even though I'm shy and quiet. Okay, so there you go. Here's another objection. So maybe it's my market, which are students, they can't afford it. Okay, all my friends are students, they're young, they can't afford it. So you ask them, are you interested in a global business or just a small-time business? And they're going to say, well, I'm interested in global business. So because we're a global business, we're going to teach you how to market and attract customers from all ages, demographics, and countries. So let me ask you, why are you only considering the student market? Right, so there you go. So that gets them excited. Say, hey, why don't you just consider your student market? We can teach you how to expand. And you got to emphasize, again, the training. Every time there's a weak skill, it's just like the MLM objection. It's about skill and training. Emphasize that this time is different. That we're going to teach, the training is going to teach them how to expand to new markets. Here's another objection. I'm not sure I can do this. What happens if I fail? Ask them, well, what happens if it does work? So if you quote unquote fail, and you can ask another question, if it does fail, what's the worst thing that can happen? And you let them talk it out, right? I lose a couple $100, right? I lose $1,000 or whatever. But if it does work, what's the best thing that can happen? So your goal is to get them to see the gain is what they can gain is way bigger than the fear of loss. Okay? And even better is get them to see the loss of opportunity is greater than the loss of the investment of the startup, right? Sometimes, there's probably things we've done in the past where we lose out on the opportunity. That's way greater because the opportunities only come by once in a lifetime. So someone may say, I don't know many people or don't have a big network. That's why you must get involved in this business because this business allows you to meet tons of people and it's a ton of fun. It's so much fun. You meet all these great people from different countries. That's why you have to do this.